Hello, welcome back to the channel. So the 3.6 livestream just happened, and honestly, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. I feel like the patch looks pretty good overall, so I want to go over everything that was shown and kind of give an overview for you guys about what's in the patch. So first, the trailer, it looks pretty sick, and I'm definitely excited for the story. I do kind of like that they didn't show too much, because that's kind of been a big problem in the past, where they kind of just spoil everything. We mainly just saw Evernight and Dan's new form, and then, Sunday is back, and then that's kind of about it. We don't really know exactly what's going to happen in the story, and I kind of like that more. Then we did also see a bit of some of the new areas, and then the new boss, which probably looked like the weirdest looking boss in the whole game. It's mainly designed to be fought with shields, since hitting a character with a shield reduces its toughness, and you also need to pick a character to take like a huge chunk of damage. Kind of like how the APOC bosses work right now. Then we got a look at Evernight. Her animations, look pretty sick. Not as insane as someone like Fidon, but I don't think anyone is gonna get to that level, honestly, besides maybe like Cyrene. But in terms of gameplay, she is mainly meant to be played with other Remembrance characters, since she buffs their crit damage, so mainly casters, like maybe a Goliath, but mainly casters. But her Memo Sprite has a bar which accumulates Memoria, which increases its damage, and when the bar is full, she immediately takes action and deals damage to. And how you get Memoria is by her or her Memo Sprite losing HP, and also it gives her buffs as well. So, she is mainly meant to be played with casters. Then for her ultimate, she deals damage to all enemies and enters a buff state, where she deals more damage and gains more Memoria from using her skill. Then her technique increases the crit damage of all Memo Sprites on the team for a bit and gives her some Memoria as well. So in terms of how good she is, we don't really know yet because she's not out yet. But I will say if you have casters, she definitely seems like a very good pickup. But if you don't have casters, she doesn't really seem that necessary unless, we get more self-damage for Remembrance characters, which I kind of doubt. Then we got Dan Heng, who we are finally getting a new preservation character after over a year. And he is free, which is fantastic, especially since a lot of people don't pull for sustained characters. But in terms of gameplay, his skill will provide a shield to all allies and summon his dragon, kind of like a mix between Topaz and Aventurine. Then, when the dragon takes action, it will dispel a debuff for that ally and provide a shield to the whole team. Then his ultimate deals damage and provides a shield immediately, which is great, so he will have some sort of emergency sustain. And the dragon will also be enhanced to do a follow-up attack on all enemies and provide a shield. Then for his technique, he dazes all enemies, and he uses his skill on an ally who triggers combat without using SP, which seems really good. Overall, he just seems like a pretty good sustained character. Doesn't seem to have any much insane stuff going on. Just seems like a good overall general sustained character. It's pretty flexible and how you can use him, but seems to be mainly geared towards Anaxa and Phaidon, because that's who they showed him with in the live stream. But we'll have to see how good they actually are once they actually come out into the game, since we don't really know anything about their traces or their numbers or anything like that yet. Then for the banners, Evernight and Herta will be in the first half, which is kind of surprising since Herta already got a rerun in 3.3. But the second half will be Dan and Anaxa, who I think makes a bit more sense since Anaxa hasn't had a rerun yet, and Dan is free, so most people aren't really going to be pulling for him. Then we are also getting an animated short for Dan Heng, which will appear in the story. So if you don't want to get spoiled, do the story first, and Evernight is also getting a Myriad Celestia as well. Then for events, you got the one where you gotta take care of a Dromas. Seems like an alright event. The Seal Slammers event is coming back, and Origami Clash is also going to have a new game mode as well. Kind of just okay in terms of these kind of events. We are also getting a combat event though, which seems pretty good. The combat event is based on the Masked Fools, where you have to charge a gift boxes to get buffs, and one of your characters is super buffed. It seems kind of in line with a lot of the past combat events, which were pretty fun, and this should also be pretty fun. Then we are finally getting a new endgame mode, Anomaly Arboration, which seems to kind of be designed as the endgame, since you need max stars in all of the other modes at least once to be able to play it, and you don't actually get jades from it. So it seems like there's more for just the challenge than anything else. But how it actually works is that there is 3 trial stages and 1 final stage. You need 3 teams for each trial stage, but only 1 for the final stage, which is the hardest of them all. They didn't really go into too much detail on how the buffs or anything work, because in this clip, Castress does like 17 million damage, and she can't do that normally, so there must be some sort of way to get more damage. But we'll have to wait and see how it actually works once it comes out. But there is new rewards from it. You get an interference key, which you can add to a relic when you're rerolling to block one stat to not get added to the reroll. Which, will be pretty useful if you're trying to, like, min-max, which you're probably going to need you for this mode. You can also get, avatar frames and medals for clearing as well to kind of show off that you beaten it. And we are getting a new store, like the MOC store, and that kind of stuff, with a bunch of, like, cosmetic stuff in it, and a new pet that will get updated over time. Overall, this game mode mainly just seems like, for the people who really want, like, a hard challenge, especially since we aren't getting any actual, like, Jade rewards. So it's gonna be one of this, like, it's there if you want the hard challenge, but if you don't do it, you're not gonna, like, miss out on too much stuff. But, we'll have to see how good it actually is once it's actually out. We are getting an interference key and some new currency for free, which is good, so people who can't beat the mode right away at least still have access to some of the stuff. Then we are getting, the free 10 pull and the extra rewards, like we get to every patch. We are getting 2 new relic sets, which we have no idea what they do yet, but I'm assuming they're probably going to be for Dan and Evernight, which, is kind of annoying, but I guess we're going to have to get the farming, Then for some of the quality of life stuff, you can go back and replay past story, which is, great for people who want to, go back to the cutscenes if they kind of forgot stuff. But I probably won't really be using it because, I already beat it, so I don't need to see it again. We are also getting a sort of like patch overview kind of thing where you can see like the current and upcoming events as well as the rewards for them. Now for the thing that I find the most interesting, in 3.7, which is next patch, we are getting a new large-scale game mode called Currency Wars, where you can choose 10 characters, which seems like they're kind of buffed based on like their factions, because you can see like the faction icon there. And I just want to spell something right now. This is not a TCG, guys. Like, we literally see gameplay of them. Like, why would they say you get new character abilities if this was a TCG? That wouldn't make any sense. They literally show gameplay. Like, this is 100% like a combat thing. The card thing there, I'm pretty sure, is just for selecting characters. Like, I could be wrong, but we'll have to see when it actually comes out because we know barely anything about it. But yeah, you do get actually new character exclusive buffs, which is something that I have wanted for so long. And I think that if they do this right, this could be the best mode. Character-exclusive abilities is just really fun. Like, you got the Firefly thing where it's based on her, boss move and that kind of stuff. But, we don't really have much information on it now. So right now we'll have to see how it works in 3.7. But, I'm just happy we're actually getting another new game mode right after this one. Overall, this patch looks pretty great. The story looks exciting. We're getting an okay amount of events, even if some of the events are just reruns of what we've already had. We are finally getting a new endgame mode. I like the new characters. The only kind of disappointing thing, at least for me, is that there is no character buffs, because we really do kind of need those, really, for a lot of the 1.0 characters. But, like, other than that, I don't really have many problems with the patch, But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.